up a seat at the bar to join us for another episode of McAnally's Pubcast, a podcast exploring the fun and fantastical mind of Jim Butcher's The Dresden Files series. Hosts Tanzan, Maggie, and me bring you another round of literary analysis on this immense, immersive, and colorful environment inhabited by Harry Dresden, the world's only licensed private investigator and professional wizard. Join an active and engaged community of new and die-hard dedicated fans focused on the fabulous themes, theories, characters, context, lore, and more. This is McAnally's Dresden Files Pubcast by Free Flow Rambling. Conjure by it at your own risk.
Welcome to the McAnally's Pubcast, brought to you by Free Flow Rambling. This is episode 17.6. Yep, there it is. Where we are covering the novel Proven Guilty. My name is Tanzan, and I'm joined by Maggie.
Hello, hello.
And Jess.
221 days.
Thank you to our Patreon subscribers for your generous support. It's people like you who help us to do what we do. If you're not yet a Patreon subscriber, sign up today and get a fuck ton of bonus content, kick-ass merch, behind-the-scenes outtakes, and more. Sign up today at www.patreon.com/freeflowrambling.
Chapter 8. Harry arrives at the precinct and finds a not incarcerated Molly who fesses up that her boyfriend Nelson is the one in trouble.
So we get a little, commentary on the socioeconomic...
There have been improvements to Cabrini Green.
It's kind of
much
funny
like in real life.
Every time Jim Butcher does this, I'm always like, what's the context here? Like, why does he always feel the need for that? To lay the groundwork of just Chicago, 2005.
In some ways, I think it is a little bit of because, he did say, she gave me an address not far from my apartment. So you're like, okay, this is kind of the area he's living in. I don't know. I don't mind. It's definitely better than some, because like I said, I was reading about it the other day, and it was so much. It was this times 45, and then had absolutely nothing to do with the point of the story. It's like you're doing way too much crap that's...
Well, he's sort of blending real life stuff.
Yeah, well,
I do get
but I think it gives a little bit to where he's going to pick this. They're not in a really sketchy, but they're not in a really great. He's they're kind of in a.
But I could almost see if there was a point in you can see how the world's economic is also influencing the supernatural right now, and everyone's getting desperate, and that's why attacks are happening more often, and that's why I think. But it's it kind of almost everything gets to that point. So I'm like, okay, yeah, every single book we get a little bit of I mean, maybe it's just Harry's dedication to his own city, and he really cares about Chicago, and he's knowledgeable, and this is his city, and it's important that Chicago is his city. It's not just the place where Harry lives.
Yeah.
But I wonder sometimes, because almost every single book we get this a little bit of a rundown of just Chicago in and of itself. Forget the supernatural. This is just, here's some facts about Chicago right now.
I am an author. I research. I know stuff about...
I wrote down all these notes. I'm going to use them, damn it.
This is Wacker Street.
This does sort of put it in context to me that he is following at least a little bit of real life scenarios.
It does sort of give you the context.
There's some gentrification going on in Cabrini Green. Mm-hmm. That it's still kind of shitty, but it's improving,
so it's
which is in the time frame is accurate.
Chicago.
I get no, that's where it is.
I get that. That's what I mean, though. Is it's just sort of to me seems like that panning of a TV show where they do the droid footage is it's almost not relevant, but you got to get those B shots of
yeah. Just in case you forgot, our show takes place in New York.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he does, because he does then go into a little description about, the police station and stuff like that, so it's kind of, but you're right, overall, this doesn't have, a massive bearing on, it's not integral to, what happens next or anything like that, kind of.
I get maybe it's just good writing to not just say, I went to the precinct, but...
yeah, I think it is more just a little
narrative
bit of
painting.
I was going to say a little bit of word painting right there, just to, set the scene.
Narrative painting sounds better than word painting.
That's why I should cut
if I had to choose.
But yeah, he didn't go to a totally dive part, but he didn't go to a total swanky part.
And he's
although
not
if you
at
notice-
Murphy's precinct because this is the 18th precinct. So
Yeah,
he's got to sort of develop a new location. And his kind of go-to actually right now
We're
is
not by
Cabrini
box.
Green.
I'm probably not
I
going
was
to get
gonna
jumped.
say it's been
This
like
makes a
mentioned
lot
in,
of
like,
mention.
4 out of 8 books now. Like Cabrini Green. Me just like saying it.
It's like his favorite movie.
It's like
He just really likes the
indubitably or
Candyman.
something like that.
Or maybe that's it. How many times can I reference the Candyman? What is it? 13?
4.
Well, that's it.
Is this like the Superman in Seinfeld or the pineapple?
That's gotta be wrong.
Maybe it's 5.
It's like a drastic number.
No, I think it's like
How many times
it's
do you
either
say?
4 or 5 for
Shay, we need you on this episode.
because it's not like Beetlejuice, which is 3.
Yeah, I
I wanna
no
say that
idea
it's-
how many. I've never watched Candy.
Apparently 5.
Honestly, when you say Candyman, even though I know it's the horror movie, the one thing that usually jumps into my mind first is like John Candy, and then I have to like flip to. I don't know why.
The man that played Candyman has actually passed on.
Oh, did you guys hear like Loretta Swit passed away yesterday, Friday?
Who?
Yeah,
Sorry, I
I saw
didn't
that.
hear who you said.
Loretta Swit. Hot Lips Houlihan.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, she was 87 or something like that. But I was like, oh, like she was an icon in her own right, in her day, in her time, and her. She was, yeah.
When he gets out of the cab, he realizes he's still being stalked, but this time it's a different car.
Yeah.
Ooh.
A white sedan.
And-
A shadowy figure.
The shadiest of all sedans.
And I like that. Again, he has thrown as the dog, and that mouse has better people skills than he does.
I appreciate that. Like, making friends.
The cabbie is kind of like, this guy is weird, and Mouse is like, it's all right, he's with me. And he's like, okay. But also that he's being followed.
Mouse goes out every night to network.
No, that's the beauty of Mouse, is he like doesn't even have to. He's just one of those people you instantly love when he walks in the room. And then you find out later that he's just an asshole.
And then there's Mr. who just goes out and judges everybody.
Yeah. That's what Mouse's networking campaign is for, really. I'm sorry about him. I'm sorry about him.
I'm sorry about Harry. I'm sorry about Mr. Let me, you gotta have some contact. They both have really tragic backstories.
I'm sorry about the vampire and all your missing teenage daughters. So Molly meets him inside, which is
When
weird.
they shut the door. Aren't they still stepping
Well, yeah, just
outside?
at the door, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she steps out before he can. And you
Who
know
has
what?
gotten all grown up.
All grown up. But it's kind of funny because I have to admit, I was just all excited about like seeing Molly and like listening to his like all the stuff he went over because like all excited about him meeting Molly again, and like I guess I just kind of got drawn into his like talking about all the upgrades and whatever because I can remember this the first time I read it. So you get through all of this, right? We've got a 2, 3, 4, 5 paragraphs, and then he's like. And then I noticed, like, you don't seem to be in jail. I was like, oh, yeah, she came out. It was so funny. I was like, you know what? I remember that the first time I read it, that my brain didn't even really, like, it just, the scene was all normal to me at first until it comes back again. I was like, oh, yeah, wait, he was supposed to be bailing her out. She wouldn't be meeting him at the door, like, stepping outside.
You liar.
My guy's here. I'll be right back, okay? I'm just going to go tell him what's going on. Yeah, right? I was like, and I totally didn't get listening to it. I was like, oh, yeah. So, yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
So I can't help but notice that you seem to be very much not in jail.
Well, it sort of kind of updates us on what she looks like right now.
A good distraction for both Harry and the reader, apparently, as you can see.
As you can see. And again, it's this, like, it's awesome. You love how he's going down all of it. And he's like, she's got the colored hair. And
She's an 80s-inspired goth punk Valkyrie.
right? And then Harry being Harry, Butcher being Butcher. You get all the way to the end, and then it kind of goes, ugh, again. I could
And
tell-
her nipples?
Yeah.
What about her nipples? Oh, there it is.
Right?
Here's this time. We haven't had that before.
Yep, there it is.
And even that, you can kind of go, okay, like, again, she was 14 the last time. There is a fairly significant jump for most of us between, I get all that. Then on top of it, not just the natural growing up, but all these changes. And, like, you can even sort of be like, okay, probably would notice the pierced nipples poking out between.
I mean, if it's designed to make us uncomfortable, yes, it worked.
Yeah. Well, but then again, it's like even that part, you're kind of like, but I'm like, okay, yeah, he might notice the boot, and then he's like, and I totally wasn't thinking bad. I know I wasn't thinking bad thoughts because I told myself, and you're like, oh, see that?
Exactly.
That
He
just
always
took it to
ruins
the next
it.
level, Harry. I was
Too
like,
far.
I could have forgiven you noticing the pierced nipples because that is fair that it would, especially on, like you say, somebody who was a quote unquote little girl, somebody who you thought more of as a child the last time. I'm like, all right, but no, now you're just like, okay, now you sound like a creepy old man instead of defending yourself against being a creepy old man.
Yeah, no.
I kind of want to go over some of her look a little bit. Like, she kind of is a little bit of a Harley Quinn sort of homage with the pink and blue hair, like especially being a blonde. So that's one thing that I could kind of see there.
Not that I mind it being, because I'm sure it's a popular... I mean, I wouldn't mind. I have nothing against these colors, and I've seen a few people, but I just feel like a bunch of times in books I've come across over the last little while, and I may be, exaggerating it in my recall or something, I feel like there's always a lot of this cotton candy hair. I feel like so often it's this pink and blue. And it's not just like, sometimes it's one or the other, but very often, I can't recall now the other specific instances, what other kinds of books or things I've come across. I just feel like when they want to be like, oh, somebody died there, it's never just like, it's always like, it was like half pink and half blue, or the cotton candy.
Yeah, but this is Butcher. He's always got some sort of like hidden pop culture reference in something. So this is why I think Harley Quinn versus just sort of generic punk look.
Yeah, I'm just saying it was something that popped out to me that I feel like I've noticed a lot lately, that is the combination used, that this cotton candy hair a lot is if somebody is this little bit quirky, funky, tattooy, piercy type of person, they always have like cotton candy hair is what it is. I'm like, why? I'm like, am I just... Like, again, is like when somebody points something out to you and then all of a sudden you see it, well, it's not actually that much more prevalent. You're just taking more notice of it. Or, so that's what I mean is like, I don't know if I'm just in my recollection, like exaggerating it more than it is. I just feel like this is a lot. Which again, I was like, nothing against it per se. I was like, I would love those hair colors and I have no problem with anybody that wants to do those hair colors. And if it worked on me better and I was blonde, I might do. But it's just fun. I just feel like the bubblegum pink and the cotton candy blue and the bubblegum pink and the cotton candy blue.
See, and I think like this description of her does like, looking from a contemporary lens, doesn't have the effectiveness that it would have when it was first published. Because I read this and I think the only thing that I think is like, yeah, you got away with too many tattoos for being underage.
Yeah.
Like, not even, like, the piercings, like, whatever. Like, the dyed hair, the outfit, none of it, like, makes me think,
I was going to say, well, and it is
whatever.
funny. And
A little at a time now.
I was going to say, part of that could be ours. Like, so I do get it. You're right.
I mean, I would have probably looked like this at the same age as well.
And I was just going to say, see, I wouldn't have quite because...
Except I liked having red hair, so I never...
You never needed to... And I never had a problem with my brown hair. I always liked being a brunette, so I never had urge to change my... And I just knew it was one of those things that, I mean, not 100%, but like 98% sure. If I told my mom I wanted to dye my hair blue, she would be like, no. I mean, even now she looks at me funny and still goes, your hair's still blue? I'm like, yeah, because I can. And so I kind of know that I just wouldn't have been allowed to, so there's no way. So I had pierced ears, but I was like, yeah, my mom would, if I said I wanted to like pierce my belly, but like she would never have. So now I do know kind of from when my own kids went through this, and when I subsequently got piercings later on, that there are different age levels. Like at 16 is like the consent for like a nose piercing, and then it's like 17 or 18 or 19 for this, that, right? So certain bigger ones, like the tongue and stuff like that, I think you needed to be. But like, yeah,
and ears, I know from experience,
eyebrows, you can be anywhere between like 16 to 18 and whatever, right? So, but yeah, it's just my mom would not have, because I know my younger sister did that. When she was in New Brunswick, they crossed the border into Quebec, because the age of majority was different, or the piercing places or whatever. But at whatever age she was, 17 or 18, she could go there and get it done, but there wasn't anywhere nearby in like Dalhousie where she could legally, you know what I mean? So shit like that, right? So that's part of it. But also just exactly, I'm like taking, like you say, back that 20 years from now is it wasn't quite as popular. But exactly, I'm like, I go around with blue hair all the time. Jessica, I have like a tattoo. I have a few piercings. Tanzan has some tattoos and piercings, not a ton.
At that age, I would have already had a navel ring, nose ring, and...
At 17, yeah.
Hopefully my dad's not listening, a tattoo. But it was hidden. It wasn't a neck tattoo.
Yes.
It was like, I could get away with wearing like even a bathing suit and nobody would know.
Yeah. Same thing. Yeah, my first tattoo.
And come to think of it, I did have...
Where the hell is your first tattoo?
Hair.
What the hell?
Somewhere underneath a bathing suit.
Apparently.
But so is mine. And
we'll get to the next part of the discussion of tattoos.
I will say, she's clearly going for shock value, and I understand that whole rebel teenager. And me and Mackenzie did not grow up in a very rebellious household, clearly.
our mom did not say no very often. We pretty much got to do whatever we wanted, and neither of us were very rebellious children. Dyeing our hair was about as crazy as we went as
Within
children.
some reason, guys. Not whatever. I tried.
It helped that you had 2 very lazy children.
Well, there's that. But same thing, right? I colored your guys' hair. I would put in like patches of the manic panic because I was like, you guys, that sounds fun. Yeah, so exactly, right? When you guys were old enough and wanted piercings and tattoos and stuff like that. Exactly. Like, I know because some of Kenzie's friends used to be like, your mom let you get it? And she was like, but again, Kenzie was like I love her dearly, but she was a little bit that straight A uptight. So when she wanted to do something wacky, like get a tongue piercing, I was like, yeah. I'm like, okay, I know. I know.
She like,
people,
Mackenzie,
I
like,
know there's
barely questioned, like, do you think like I would like a tongue piercing? And my mom kidnapped her and like took her to the tattoo place, and she's like, we're here, you're getting it. Like, she barely committed to it before my mom was like strapping her to the table and was like, put a ring through her tongue.
It was a stud. Not quite, but exactly. I was like, yes, live outside the box, do something fun, do something people won't think you.
Right, but I'm saying all this. It was you, and I distinctly remember my grandmother, not yours, but my paternal grandmother grew up in such a very strict household. Like, women were not allowed to wear pants.
Yeah,
So my grandma had to leave the house in like a skirt or dress every single day.
She was mad that I bought you like a beer pong set.
Oh, the beer pong.
Oh, yes, that one. But she kept a pair of red jeans in her locker at school that she would change into when she got to school, and then she had to change back out and put on her more conformed dresses to go back home and deal with her mother.
Yeah,
You say all the time, too, you grew up in such a strict household. You couldn't wear and have all these piercings and things like that, but you did your own shit, because you and your brother both were smoking as young teenagers.
Yes, it wasn't particularly condoned, and also
that's what I mean, though. But Molly's doing like
no
so extreme of,
and I do, and I totally, and again, like I say, there's also very much the difference between like that 14 and 17. So again, same thing when I see things from like couples, all of a sudden they're grown up and they've dyed their hair a funky color or they dress, or you know what I mean? I'm like, it's not necessarily wrong or bad, but I can sometimes be like, oh my God.
You see the lack of parental influence.
You're not that like 8-year-old little kid anymore. Exactly, you're right. So I'm like, I do, but yeah, so it's kind of funny. I think part of it is we're all just like, this is cool, because I'm like, we all dye our hair and piercings and tattoos. We're like, this is normal, this is cool, who wouldn't do that? But yeah, at the same time, you're like, for Harry, it's a little bit of a whoa, what?
Yeah, like, and I'm almost on board with this, except the degree of the tattoos that she's
I was
gotten.
going to say, she went a little bit too crazy too quickly.
Yeah.
Which is why, people, they put that age limit so that when you're young and dumb, you don't get crazy neck tattoos that you're going to regret.
I'm a Slytherin!
I have a family friend, and my family friend came to me and said, oh, my son wants to get a job. Can you get him a job and teach him and stuff like that? Because he's, like, afraid of, like, workforce, and he's all brand new. And I was like, no problem.
And he's how old, this kid?
At the time, he was probably 16, 17.
Okay.
Underage, but...
Yeah, but I wasn't sure, like, 14 or 16. But
yeah, anyways.
16.
But so, okay, fine, get him a job. Training, my boss pairs him up with me to be trained or whatever like that, and the kid kind of got like an easy ease into a workforce because I knew him and his family, and I wasn't like bullying him when he fucked up or whatever like that, right? But as he got more comfortable, he started telling people, he was like, you know, like, I like tattoo myself, like, and like all these other like 16-year-olds we worked with were like, whoa, a free tattoo, like, I'll absolutely take that.
Yeah.
And by the end of the summer, he tattooed like 3 or 4 or 5 of them, and they were all like shitty, and I was just like. And he was like, he kept asking me because at that time I had, you know, my half dozen of tattoos or whatever, and I was like, no, I'm good. I don't know. I was just like, I'm watching all these kids like say yes to this, and I'm just like, you guys are dumb.
See, and that was another thing that I put in here is like the type of tattoos that she got, like the tribal at the time was very popular. It did seem cool, but it aged so poorly. Like all I can think of is fraternity bro.
Yeah.
When I see a tribal tattoo, which is funny because I actually really wanted a tribal armband myself. Like that was one thing that I did
I was
consider.
going to say, I do like some of them. I remember one point thinking they looked neat.
But
like
I didn't want them to look like everybody else's. And,
but there is that, yeah. I don't actually have one of those, but yes.
But I did write down, I'm like, it's too bad she didn't put more thought in it because like Jess has, because Jess has the coolest tattoos of like 99% of the people I've seen for tattoos.
So much. Appreciate that.
They're awesome. They're beautiful tattoos. You're not just like walking into a tattoo studio doing it to like piss somebody off. Like you're actually putting some really genuine thought, and it's beautiful artwork.
Yeah. Which I appreciate, because I don't necessarily believe that every tattoo needs to have like a story or something like that. Like I'm not behind the whole like, oh, there has to be a meaning or all this stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't, whether or not I necessarily am into or believe in the thing I got a tattooed, I still want it to be good artwork.
Right. But because of that, this strikes me as like sort of like it's it's supposed to come across as rebellious, but to me, because of what was chosen, comes across as the sort of status quo rebellion that everybody fucking
Well,
goes
I was
through.
going to say, I was like, it's totally
this
that,
is
like,
really just
17, I know the world, I'm never going to regret this. Like, yeah, give me the snake tattoo across, like, half my back and throat and whatever. And it's a little bit like, okay, relax.
Yeah.
So
It's
story
not
time.
that serious.
my 2 tattoos. So the one, and I found out much later. I was like, I saw it's in mine are really like the cheesy fucking status quo rebellion fucking ones as well. It's the Chinese symbols. I have 2 of them, but I got them to match. One of them is the symbol for eternity, and I don't know why I picked it. I saw it and it was like that one. Turns out that I have a calligraphy book, and it was one of the characters that I had practiced as a child for months on how to do. But I didn't make the connection until I saw the book years later and went, that's why I picked it.
Where I got that from?
That's cool.
I've been practicing it. It's the same ones that are on that red cup there. Now, the other one, I'd done my research, too, to make sure that these said what they were. It didn't just say, like, Kung Pao.
Yeah.
The other one
Eat at Joe's.
is supposed to mean fierce, which it does. But I found out much later, with dating a Chinese person, that there's actually 2 different dialects for Chinese symbols. One is called simplified, and one is called classical. Yes, definitely, in simplified Chinese, my symbol does mean fierce. In
But in
classical
classical?
Chinese, it means murderer.
She is a fierce
Criminal
murderer.
murderer. It's like, oh,
And wait, what is it?
that's actually kind of funny, so I don't even mind because it's funny.
Eternal? She's the eternal murderer?
Yeah.
Or she will murder you for eternity.
Psycho killer, qu'est-ce que c'est?
Better watch.
Please, come to Canada.
So now that I actually have some funny stories or some relatable stuff, it's not as nearly quite as bad as,
Yeah, there you go.
Yes, just and like you say, at least you can put that twist on it, right? You're like, yeah, I got this Chinese symbol.
I did look it up, and I was right, but I was also wrong.
And this is often the way things go in life, and much of what we learn as adults, which is again why we're like, maybe don't do these certain kinds of things until you're old enough to. So yeah, it is definitely. But and I like the way he tells this story too, because he's like, oh, she grew up and her hair was short, and he's like, but wait, there's more. And then she had like a bunch of piercings and blah blah blah. And he's like, but wait, there's more.
She has a very angry dentist. Do you click your tongue ring across
Oh, yeah, no. I was like, why?
Why? Because it's bad for your fucking teeth.
Yes.
The first thing they tell you, don't do that.
Yes,
I didn't think that it would be awkward.
it is for the first little bit.
Because they'll do this.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. I just think the angle of it is like too
I've seen
far.
a few people do
Because
it.
they put in a longer bar. Because again,
No, I
you're-
understand that, but I just.
and your tongue is a little bit sore for the first roll. So yeah, I think it varies by person. But I'm thinking hers has to be really yeah, if she's still got any kind of a lisp going on with it, this thing like just has happened. Because yeah, that shouldn't be for very long swelling or sensitivity or whatever. And
too.
yeah. So yeah, that. And I am mildly surprised. Like again, if it's that new that it's, unless she's got like a big giant ball or something on it that she's
poorly
not used to.
sized.
Yeah, because depending on, like you say, I've never had a particularly large one on mine. But if you,
Maggie doesn't have big balls.
not there. I do on my chest, but not on my mouth.
And she's got big balls.
As we divulge.
Once again, that
further.
went sideways
Still
fast.
learning things about each other after all this time. Things I don't need to learn.
But wait, there's more.
No, please. Keep the suspense.
But not only is it just funny in the general storytelling sense, I also get a kick out of it because me and Tanzan have that story for my sister where that was literally, she's like, so this thing, but wait, there's more. Oh no, all right. Oh, but wait, that's not it. And it went, there was like 7, but wait, that's, oh my God, it was the funniest thing
I've
ever.
heard the rendition.
Yes.
It was a very funny story.
It was a
like
very funny
honestly,
story,
like
but that
I
all-
remember that for years because it was so funny. Like the horror in her face as she told the story. I'm like,
And you're like, oh my God, oh no, but wait.
But she has a face for like self-inflicted horror.
She does, yes, right?
are you sure you want to keep telling us? Like,
And I can guarantee you, like 56 or more % of her did not want to tell the story in front of you because you guys had just met. but like
Had to tell.
90% of her needed to tell this story to me. So as much as she was embarrassed and horrified to be, she just that's it. She's like, I can't even wait for more privacy than this. This has got to come out
I think
now.
I've told other people this story that like are not related whatsoever. It was like, this is the best story I've ever heard.
Point is that for Molly, it is such overkill at this point.
I think Jess wants to move on.
Yes. Yes, it's
Again, I do have plans.
So she's wearing this badge that says splatter, and I love for the
exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark.
if you listen to the audio books, he says them every time. And that is and I don't know, like it makes me wonder if he, like again, is this one of the ones where maybe he'd done a bit of a read through on the book before and knew, or was there direction in this to be like emphasize? Because obviously, as a reader, you see how it is put out. But yes, in the narration, I was like, did Marsters specifically be like, I need to show this emphasis? Or was it like some part of the direction production to be like, make sure you do the emphasis on this? So, because yeah, I love it. SplatterCon, exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark.
He actually says it.
It's literally, that's how he says it every time. And I love it.
I kind of want to think that is an intentional choice. Just to.
It is. I'm just saying, I just don't know whose intention
I hope
it was.
it is.
I
do.
think
hope
both
it's
James Marshall or a director, because anyone who reads that, I think would have to say exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark, because it's just so prevalent.
See, like I wouldn't the first time. I mean, again, just visually as a reader, I would take it in. But yeah, as it comes up in the neck and it gets mentioned every so often, it becomes more of a thing, which is why. So yeah, that's why I love.
This could
that.
also be a good T-shirt idea.
Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. So yes, she's doing that whole don't care, really does care, insecure teenage stuff where you're just like, oh my God, well, they actually think I'm super cool, like I'm trying to be, which is like cliche.
I'm
whatever.
so cool. I don't care.
After school special stuff right now.
Know if you approve of everything Yeah, exactly.
Now, teenage insecurity is really kind of universal at some places.
Yep, and it
My
lasts
name is
all the way to
teenager.
your 60s. Yes, insecurity, they name is teenage. So, hey, I happen to notice that you're not in. And she's like, yeah. Oh, look, you got a dog. When did you get a dog, Harry? What a nice dog, Harry. Can I pet your dog, Harry? Because a dog doesn't really want to get petted.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, what?
Totally didn't remember that at all.
Excuse me, Mouse. Have you not been reading? This is Molly. She's Michael's daughter.
Doesn't so much as bark at the mailman. But Molly
gets a growl. And again, we get the reminder that Mouse only growls at bad guys. What? No,
Mouse just growled at the guy in the sedan.
I thought it was.
So what happened? Who has been doing what to Molly? Right? Because obviously something's got to be.
She's got a little taint to her. What I think is interesting, though, is that. I don't know. I haven't read past this chapter. Don't know.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean.
What I do find interesting is that, like, Harry hasn't said anything. Not even, like, he just sort of makes a mental note, doesn't say a word.
I know,
Just kinda goes,
he knows how to play the game. If I just stand here quietly, she will get more and more uncomfortable.
That's a little bit of the annoying thing to me.
I'm not
like,
gonna
okay,
be able to-
you are a private investigator, but it is a little bit annoying to me just how cold he turns on her immediately. And it's like, I guess she lied, but like, damn, dude, she's still a kid. And he basically immediately starts treating her like a hostile enemy. Like, as soon as he arrives, he's like,
because
Dad
accuses her
mode,
of like
angry,
manipulation and everything.
Totally.
Like,
I don't know. I just
he does
feel
go
like
far.
it's a bit too harsh. And I was like, okay, yeah, she lied, but fucking relax and hear her out. Jesus.
Do you think this might be because of his what's going on in his life in the book so far? Like, he's just had to execute a teenager.
Yeah, I get he's stressed.
Also,
he's been in a car accident. He's mad she lied, and he's specifically trying to avoid the carpenters for a reason. But I still feel like I'm just like, I don't know.
He hasn't seen her in a couple of years, so you would think that he'd give her a little bit
if I were to
lenience.
call one of Mom's friends that I haven't spoken to in a while but would still consider, and I'm like, closest I could come up with is Stacy or something like that. And I wouldn't expect Stacy to show up and start lecturing me if I really, like, he was the only person that I felt that I could call and get help from. And then he's like, even then I'd be like, Stacy. And Stacy was like, Stacy didn't let me go to, like, summer camp in my pajamas because it was unprofessional.
Yeah. He didn't believe that it was, it was like, oh, yeah, summer camp kind of a thing. And it was pajama day. And whatever was going on, I needed. And yeah, she's like, go get dressed. And she's like, no, it's pajama day. And he's like, I don't think so. Nice try. Go get dressed. It was so funny. So she ended up putting her clothes on over her, right? Grandma had to go to school and change into her jeans because she wasn't allowed to wear a skirt. Jessica had to put her clothes on top of her pajamas so she could get to school and take off her clothes to be in her pajamas to go to.
He felt so bad. He's like, I'm so sorry. I'm going to run back to the house and get your pajamas right now. I was like, don't worry. I'm wearing them under my jeans. And he's like, I'm so sorry for not believing you. It's like, I've met myself, Stacy. I know why you believe me.
It's okay. I know who I am. I get it.
I mean, if I hadn't talked to one of my friends' kids and that I'm still on good terms with, and
so say you
a
haven't
year or
talked
two,
to Jessica in 3
and
years,
and they contact me and be like, I'm in trouble. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't I would be like, oh fuck,
exactly.
Yeah, no, I will help. Because why are you contacting me?
Right?
Yeah, that's what I mean though. Oh yeah, you lied to get me down here. I'm like, okay, but you live a fucking weird life, Harry. That's what I mean though. I was like, I don't know. I just feel like you should hear her out before he's so hostile right off the bat. And I get it. He doesn't have much experience with children, but you just used Molly's picture for a ritual half an hour ago.
Yeah.
And now you're fucking lying ass bitch. You don't look like your photo.
Yeah, right? Exactly. He's like, where's the little girl?
Little Chicago would have blown up the neighborhood because you fucked this up.
I was using blonde hairs, not blue. You ruined everything. You are a disappointment to your parents.
I don't think I ever looked at it that. I don't remember ever feeling like he was that hard. I do absolutely see where you're coming from and as you say it, but yeah, I don't think I took it as quite. And I think it's a little bit of exactly is that kind of like we said to her on the phone. He's like, I'll call your parents. And she's like, no. And he's like, don't fucking put this on me. I'm not taking responsibility.
That one makes sense. I totally understand that.
But
you're not allowed to make decisions for other people's kids, okay?
Yeah, so I get that a little bit where I hear too, right? Where he's like, okay, you're manipulating me into, right? So that exactly, this is why. So I, again, see him being like, I don't want to just be like, hey, it's okay, it's fine. And I mean, he's got a bit of a point, because he does kind of say, he's like, I saw it.
I mean, granted, she did lie, so...
I can feel, I feel a little bit on the other side that I was like, I can
But isn't this for the better? Aren't you happy I'm not in jail?
Well, yes, but I was like, I can see how you're reading it that way. But again, I can also see how, he's emphasizing the point a little bit of not letting her get away. And he does kind of say, he's like, call a spade a spade. You thought you could, flirt and blah, blah, blah. And I'd be like, okay, which... If you'd looked at my thoughts 3 sentences ago, yeah, but we're not going, But yeah, right? That's the thing.
Harry Dresden's like, I know that, but how did you know that?
Yeah, I was going to say, right, I just don't think I read it quite as harshly as you took
I don't know.
it kind of.
I get Harry Dresden immediately making boundaries and maybe make her dance for it, but I don't know. I still feel like he was a little bit more just that whole silent treatment the whole time. And I'm like, okay, she's clearly in a situation. Why don't you just ask her? Why are you making this, dragging it out so much?
And actually telling her that, you're just manipulating me.
Yeah, exactly.
Outright, did feel a little bit too far to me, too.
Did it?
And I can see why, where he would sort of have that sort of...
It's you took advantage of our friendship. No, I didn't. I called my dad's friend because I'm in trouble. We're not friends ourselves.
I totally get the silent part just to sort of give the okay, you fucked up, so I'm going to let you feel awkward. But
I'm not
going into the manipulation
out.
part and the sort of more accusing stuff is a little bit too far for me, I think.
And even coming off of the whole I didn't think about what else could possibly be Pierce. All of that within 3 pages of each other, and I'm just like, what side are you falling on, Harry? Are you her friend? Are you
Harry's
a disciplinary parent figure? Or
I'm a complicated man. I am all.
Yeah.
I am a pervy guy, and I am a disciplinarian father figure. All you can be both.
No, you can't. No, you cannot.
How dare you? I can't discipline you because I'm distracted by your nipples.
Yeah.
Gets him every time.
Yeah. But yeah, so I guess I can see this a bit. And again, it's...
Burn her! She's a witch! So Molly knows how to play the game too because he has no one he can call besides you, Harry. He is a sad little baby orphan.
But Harry, he's an orphan.
Yeah, we do find a few things about good old Nelson. Nelson is in for reckless endangerment and aggravated assault.
She didn't do it. Well, they never do.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like shaken woman syndrome at all.
He's your age? Almost.
Yeah. And the parents are not a fan. In particular, Michael might not have anything to do with, dating my daughter.
He's that kind of friend.
My daughter met a boy and then showed up with all these piercing and tattoos. I'm on Michael's side.
Right? Which is kind of funny, because when we meet Nelson, he's a little bit nerdy.
He is, yeah.
He's not goth punk.
Molly's the bad influence.
Yeah, right?
Which, yeah, fair. We met her with all those handcuff keys when she was 14 and presumably didn't know Nelson yet.
Presumably, right? Yeah. We didn't know, but yeah. So, we get the rundown. And I know there's a system in place, but it is, after all, a system.
Uh-huh.
Sorry, Harry. I will give you a hug. Anyways. So this kind of is what is okay, well, he's an orphan. I have to go bail him out of jail. Yeah, okay.
And of course, Molly thinks he's in supernatural danger.
Right.
So that's why I called you Harry at all. Like, you're not just a friend, okay?
Think
You
it's
are my
something
wizard
from,
friend.
Like, your side. Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yep, there it is. This concludes our episode 17.6. Yep, there it is. Thank you for listening. You can find us online at freeflowrambling.com and McAnallys.ca. There we have links to our other podcasts, social media, and other fun tidbits. Please subscribe if you like what you're hearing, and please consider supporting us through Patreon to keep the magic alive and see more content. We are Free Flow Rambling. Emphasis rambling. Conjure by it at your own risk.